Hey, good morning. It's time to get up for Awake and Aware. We're awake because we're aware of God's presence. Listen, it has been an exciting week of waiting. Yeah. Sometimes waiting can be so boring, and waiting can seem like it's time to fidget. You don't really know what to do while you're waiting. It's like, okay, they have magazines in the waiting room, but what do they have when you're waiting on God? We got cell phones and social media when we're waiting on time to pass. But when you're waiting on God, are you waiting on time to pass? Are you waiting on events to change? What am I really waiting on? I know I'm waiting on him to move in my situation, but you know, at least in a waiting room, when I'm waiting on my dentist, I can hear some nice music. I'm filling out papers. I'm thinking about what's for dinner. How will I recover from this situation? But when I'm waiting on God, what exactly am I doing? All right, so that's what we're going to talk some about today. How you guys doing? Good morning. Sister Livonia. Trina, it's always great to see you. This is Cousin Connie. Deanna, hang in there. We're doing it. West Coast, Midwest, we're all over the spot. And so we thank God for every opportunity to speak into our lives. Because as I speak into you, he speaks into me, or as he speaks into me, I speak into you. I'm just the one speaking, but God is the one talking. Either way, maybe I'm the one talking and he's the one speaking. We'll figure that out later. But for right now, we're talking about what do we really do when we wait? Because sometimes waiting can seem so defeating because it's really not helping. It's just like you just sitting here doing nothing, waiting on something supernatural to happen, and it's just driving you crazy. If you've ever really been to a medical procedure, and I've been to one or two in my life, how you doing, Sister Giselle? When I've been to one or two medical procedures, it's kind of cool because now waiting rooms, most of them have televisions and they're catching you up on the news, and you filling out your insurance papers, and they kind of keep you moving, especially in the COVID. They don't want you sitting around a whole lot. So a lot of waiting is also not that long, because waiting will drive you just insane. I'm just not doing anything. I'm just, waiting. So waiting is something that we find to be negative. But the Bible says in Psalm 46:10, like this. You all know it more familiar in these terms. Be still and know that I am God. The other parts of the verse are pretty good too. But the part that I want to focus on this morning is just the be still and the knowing part. See, waiting is a lot about just stop striving is another way to say that. Stop fighting, stop flailing, just gather a knowledge. You ought to just stop just trying to make it happen. Stop squealing and just skirmishing and worrying and fretting. Stop Mary and Martha. And, you had one that was trying to hurry up and make everything all right, but the other one had gotten to the ideal of just being still at Jesus's feet. And the one that was scurrying around was saying, hey, Jesus, tell her to help me. We got so much that needs to be done. And Jesus just said, hey, calm down. She's got the best part. She understands the concept of what waiting is about. It's just being still. Being still. Being still. Just exhale. It's okay. But what am I doing while I'm in this stillness? Because my mind is still moving, Mel Cowlin. One of the things I'm doing in this stillness is what we talked about on day one. We're wrapping ourselves around the knowledge of who God is, and that he is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. So I'm not actively doing anything on my own. But what I am doing is I'm looking for him. In somewhat of a way, I'm just waiting on him to reveal himself, like, ta-da, you're here. I'm staying in your will and staying in the practice of your way. I'm praising and I'm worshiping and I'm praying and I want to be close to you and I want to know the power of your resurrection and the fellowship of your suffering. I do want to know all those things about you, God, and I want to be pleasing in your sight, but I'm not doing anything to try to make myself better. I'm just really being still in the knowledge that you got this. You're in control. I'm going to be still in this area, in this time of my life, waiting on God to come forward, because in my stillness, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to be diligent to seek your face. And every time I can, I'm going to hit the mark right on the mark, because I don't want to sin, because I'm just being still in you. Still in you. I'm not going out in the world and coming up with a plan. I'm just still right here in you. I'm not coming up with any master scheme of how I'm going to fix this person and how I'm going to get my kid. No, I'm going to just be still. Because sometimes when I'm still in God, it's not that things happen magically. It's that things happen consequentially. When I'm still in God, as a consequence of my stillness, other things have to now move and take notice. As a consequence of me being in a right place with God, other things have to now, surrender to God's rightness in its presence. See, it's kind of cool. When I start to surrender to God and be obedient to God, and my presence starts to be in his presence, and his presence starts to be in my presence, there's a peace that's on me that passes understanding. And when I'm reading my Bible and praying and praising, and I'm focused on the throne of God and being the sacrificial lamb and presenting my body as a living sacrifice, it's something about turning on a light in my life that the darkness has to go away, calling on my greater angels to preach a word of message in my ear and promote kingdomness in my life. It's something about the demons that has to subside. It's when I call on the peace of God that the chaos of this world has to somehow subside, because I can't do both. It's not a magic trick. It's a consequential trick. It's the ideal of, because I can't be chaotic and be peaceful. I can't be worried about the world and rest in God. I can't do both. It's limitations to who I am. And as a consequence of being next to God, it seems like everything is working while I'm waiting. Wow. Everything has a way of just working out. And while I seem like I'm waiting, and we're going to get to this on Friday, it seems like I'm getting stronger, because I'm not letting the things of this world tear me down. And I'm not getting weaker, but I'm waiting. I'm not getting weary, but I'm waiting. I'm not fretting, but I'm being faithful. I'm not stumbling, but I'm now strong. See, the Bible tells us there is a God who will keep us from falling. Well, how does a God keep us from falling? It's a consequential effect of standing strong in him. Yeah. So when I be still and recognize and know that he is God, it's something about my life that starts to change. Yeah. Be still and know that he is God. See, Mel Cal is one of those people who has great faith. And people of great faith, they just believe that somehow God is going to work that thing out. You don't get it by yourself. You get it because it's a gift of God. And somebody in her life, most likely her mom, really showed her how to operate in faith. And don't worry about it. God will work it out. And that's kind of like the be still and just knowing that God is in control. Like the director of a play. You know, you get to be a director of a play and you got everything coming together, and I got lights, I got camera, I got actors, and I got action. And you start going through your lines, and the more you start going through your lines, you don't worry that the play is working out because you got a director. And everybody has to know their lines, and you know your lines. And as long as you stay on the script, everything will work out. Cut! What you saw is you saw the actors go away. You saw the props fade. You saw the lights go down. You did your part. You stayed in character. And when you stayed in character, now the director did his part and the editor has to do their part. And when they chop it up, when you look at it on the screen, you go, wow, I know I was saying those words and I know I was in that location with that person, but how did I end up on the Titanic? Because that surely looks real, like it was all worked out. Sometimes God will have you in front of a green screen. And it'll seem like to you, it's just standing there doing nothing in front of a green screen. But you got to be still and go through your lines, play your part, be faithful, be humble, be diligent to know your will in his will. And when you don't know his will, just wait, because his will come to you and be revealed. And all of a sudden, while you're still trusting and knowing that the director is going to cut it right, the editor is going to slice it right, the production company is going to produce it right, the color company is going to put it in the right color, and by the time it's released to the general public, it will be appealing to all, but you had to play your role and just be still in that. Don't control the world. But today, how do I wait on God? Well, just simply Psalm 46:10. Just be still. Don't strive. Don't flail. Don't wander. Don't wane. Don't crumble. Not even be strong. Just be still. You might cry. You might sob. Sometimes you'll give excuses, but don't move. Be still. You might not know where. You might not know when. You might not know how, and you surely won't know why, but be still and just know this. Be still with all of this, but know this. I can be still with my hands because I know in my mind who really is in control. Why aren't you doing anything? Because I know God's got me. Well, why, God don't have to do. I know that God's got me. Listen, remember Abram when he went up to sacrifice Isaac? Isaac said, listen, we got the wood. We found the place. But where's the sacrifice? And Abraham said something to his son, Isaac, that I want to convey to you. He said, God will provide for himself a sacrifice. You don't have to make life good for God. God will provide it for himself. All we have to do is be still and know that. And he will reveal himself in such a big way, we will give him a whole nother name, just like Abraham did. He said, that's why I call him Jehovah Jireh. He'll provide. I just got to be still and know him to be my provider. Man. All those names are what people knew God to be from their own experience. That was their stillness. That was their knowing. And then they commuted those things into titles. Jehovah Shalom. I know him to be my peace. Jehovah Nisi. I know him to be my banner. Wow. Anyway, we can get all into that stuff. But today, how do we wait? We just be still and know him. That's so cool. Listen, we're going to talk to you more tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to get into the big Isaiah passage. Everybody always remembers that. Where we talk about be still and know not only that he is there, but it says wait on the Lord and he will renew your strength. We're going to deal with that on Thursday and Friday. So it's going to be just how is Isaiah saying all? So we're going to dig into that, some deep, some exegetical, a lot of homiletical. You guys will get it. Some of what the Bible is saying and some of what I should be doing, and all of it's going to blend together because we're going to wait on the Lord and let him renew our strength. All right, see you guys tomorrow.